Grieving and emotionally supporting one another through a pain only they could describe.
On this night, exactly 1 year ago, American Airlines Flight 5342, operated by a Charlotte flight crew, was less than 300 feet from landing when it collided with a Black Hawk helicopter.
We are now at a point where we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation.
Barely 12 hours later, as the sun rose, we learned there were no survivors. In total, 67 people were killed. That includes 3 U.S. service members, one of which is a North Carolina native, 28-year-old Captain Rebecca Lobach. The Charlotte-based flight crew was also killed. From left to right, Captain Jonathan Campos, First Officer Samuel Lilly, flight attendants Denasia Elder and Ian Epstein.
Earlier this week, National Transportation Safety Board members held a probable cause hearing on the crash. They concluded that this crash was entirely preventable. Now, as we mark 1 year later, what's changed and what happens next? A quiet day at Charlotte Douglas International. Operations are normal, planes going in and out. There's seemingly nothing out of the ordinary. But when you look closely, you'll see a small hint on the uniforms of some flight crew members. Black ribbon pins with the numbers 5342 etched in. A way to honor their 4 fallen crew members and the other 63 people killed on January 29th, 2025.
So they were about 35 feet apart and closing on rapidly.
Captain Richard Levy is an aviation expert with more than 50 years experience in the field.
What we have that night is this helicopter coming down the Potomac River, and then we have the PSA regional jet coming in initially to runway 01, and then the controller asks, in terms of sequencing aircraft, could you do the PSA, could you take runway 33? Well, and they accepted that. Now we have a conflict of interest.
Levy and other federal investigators say asking pilots to switch runways is common, especially at crowded airports like Reagan National. But when 5342 moved runways, it fell into the path of an Army Black Hawk helicopter.
When the operations are active on runway 15 or 33, and let's say that night runway 33, the helicopters, of course, they can hover. They are told to hover or hold their position to allow the aircraft to land on runway 33 or the opposite direction, take off runway 15. That was not done that night.
Investigators say the Black Hawk crew confirmed they saw the American Airlines flight, and the air traffic controller told them to pass behind the aircraft. But the words "pass behind" never made it to the crew. While the Black Hawk could see the plane, the other pilots didn't see a thing because the Black Hawk had their equipment to transmit their location turned off. When they finally could, it was too late.
At 8:47:58, or 1 second before impact, the CRJ began to increase its pitch, reaching about 9 degrees nose up at the time of collision.
Reagan National is a busy airport on any given day. After the crash, we learned there was a long history of near misses between commercial and military aircraft. Richard, I think a reasonable person would ask themselves, we've had these near misses. Why did it take 67 people losing their lives for us to make some of these changes?
That's a good question, Jamie, because I believe the National Transportation Safety Board has brought this up to the FAA and asked the same question.
After the midair collision, those recommendations were finally enforced.
So what has happened now is that Secretary Duffy, Secretary of the Department of Transportation, after the accident, closed Route 4. Basically, there's too high of a risk. Yay, that's great. Good decision. But
Sure.
yeah, I believe they're going to close the airspace unless it's an emergency and then stop the takeoff and landings. Make it very simple.
And the changes being made after the crash don't just impact those around the nation's capital. There's been talk of overhauling the air traffic control system as a result of all of this as well. What does that look like, and does that impact everyday travelers?
So updating the technology and hiring more controllers will help decrease delays when otherwise it's safe to operate. There may be some nasty weather out there. I'm not saying unsafe, but nasty. Well, we may have enough technology and enough controllers that we don't have to delay our takeoff for 35 minutes while we're down to one arrival every 10 minutes. That would be a positive change, of course.